Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Wrestling Challenge review series for the 6th of June, 1993. And this is about a little more than a week uh, from the uh, benefit of the, or actually, might even be the exact week from King of the Ring 93, the first King of the Ring pay per view. Not the first King of the Ring event ever. There's been about 6 or 7 of those going back to 1985, mainly in the New England area, be they in Foxborough or Providence or the surrounding area. But first one that actually acts as a pay per view is a week away. Hogan and Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan Yokozuna rematch from the WrestleMania 9 debacle is the main event there. We have a King's Court to kick off this particular program. King's Court with Yokozuna. Basically, Mr. Fuji says that Yokozuna is ready, that the match between the two where Yoko dropped the championship before wasn't legitimate, that Yokozuna would crush Hulk Hogan completely, come the King of the Ring, and that is the focus there. We then move to the Steiner brothers against um, the, some enhancement talents. That's what's up next here. Although, um, the Steiner brothers here have not become the tag team champions as of yet. They will become tag team champions, I believe, later in the month of June here in 1993. Of course, defeating Money Incorporated. Maybe it's July, June, July, that general area. But the Steiners are running people around like you wouldn't believe. Of course, Rick and Scott brothers, and certainly, pretty intense individuals, to say the very least. Scott manages to grab a headlock and then get some suplexes on Dwayne Gill. Dwayne Gill, of course, a former, uh, the former Gilbert. Um, and the overhead throw suplex is there. Steiner lines by Rick Steiner. And obviously, the Steiner brothers, not exactly Vince McMahon's first choice or second choice. If you listen to the Bruce Pritchard podcast, actually, Pritchard had suggested the opportunity for Scott Steiner to come in and challenge at WrestleMania 9 as a singles guy. But obviously, what we got here was about a year of the Steiner brothers in a lackluster push. Oddly enough, the tag team partner of Dwayne Gill in this one, who is primarily in there with Rick Steiner, is PJ Walker, who later would become Just Incredible. So interesting that Walker is in that role here. Obviously, the Steiners get the victory. Not a big surprise there. They're not going to do a loss to enhancement talent. Big Bulldog helps them get a victory there, and the Steiner lines help as well. But needless to say, a big power slam from Rick Steiner, hanging suplex, almost a Steiner screwdriver type maneuver, drops PJ Walker straight down, and then the Frankensteiner by Scott Steiner helps them get the victory. The Steiners look to be in peak shape going forward here. Then we go to an interview with the 123 Kid. He has been offered $5,000 to get back in the ring with Razor Ramon. Of course, he had defeated Razor once before in the month of May, and Razor keeps upping it. First it's $2,500, then it's $5,000. Of course, it finally ends being $10,000, which the Kid runs away with, and that's kind of an angle that's playing out on the A Show Raw, back when Raw was decent. Raw was a show that I enjoyed the first 5 years of, maybe 93, 94, 95, 96, 90, yeah, about the first 5 years I enjoyed Raw. A lot of people liked the 98, 2001. For me, wrestling was changing, and the only national product that I was really deeply into 96 or 9801 was the ECW product. But that's just me. I watched everything, but have my preferences. Adam Bomb and Chris Sampson up next. Adam Bomb, of course, managed here by Johnny Polo, otherwise known as the man who later would become Raven. Adam Bomb never really gets as much of a push as many people for his size would think he would. Of course, he comes from the Smoky Mountain area, some clotheslines, a couple kicks, a slingshot clothesline and power bomb lead to a victory for Adam Bomb. When we go to an event center, talking about an upcoming match at the Boston Garden on the of uh, 26th of June. Duggan, who had been laid out by Yokozuna months prior, finally going to get even with Yoko one-on-one in ring in Boston. At least that's what the promise is. Then they're plugging the music video, the Slam Jam music video is plugged here as well. That didn't nearly get over as well as and they actually show one of the videos, that didn't get over nearly as well as the 80s versions. Of course, by 93, things are starting to die off. 93 through 96 is a 3-year period where the WWF not exactly as popular by far as it once was. Shawn Michaels against Dan Duval. Shawn Michaels is a heel here. Actually, I think this may be the day, or within this weekend, is the debut of Diesel as Michaels' bodyguard at a house show, and that'll be followed up on here. Michaels obviously takes the shoulder tackle, comes up and over his opponent. I think I got the name of the enhancement talent wrong, but anyway, enhancement talent does get a couple of hip tosses and maybe a drop kick in on Shawn Michaels here. Michaels, even at this point, probably in one of the better portions of his career, physically speaking. And obviously he's going to take some time off. Also have a feud with Mr. Perfect that develops. And obviously he, not exactly a guy who's going to take a backward step. He hits a drop kick right under the chin. He's not afraid to be aggressive and actually uses a pile driver here as a finish, which, Michaels hadn't found his full finish yet, which is interesting. Michaels takes about, almost a year, really, to find himself as a heel completely. They did the thing with Sherry, and that doesn't really work. Then they do the thing with Diesel, and that begins to work. But needless to say, then we see the King of the Ring report sponsored by IcoPro, the integrated performance system. Hulk Hogan basically says he's gonna go this alone. Doesn't need the help of the Hulkamaniacs here. Wants a victory for himself in the biggest challenge of his career. Bret Hart is the number 1 seed in the 8-man single elimination one-night tournament, the King of the Ring tournament, and he is taking on Razor Ramon in the first round. Of course, Hart is your first official King of the Ring, launching into a feud with Jerry Lawler soon thereafter here. And needless to say, that goes in accordance to his plan. Then we see ultimately a match with Mr. Perfect up next here. Of course, Perfect doesn't really have a full-on feud quite yet, although after being jumped by Shawn Michaels post-WrestleMania, that's where the feud ends up going. Through the summer months, it is Perfect and Michaels. I think I saw them work one time as a kid live and was underwhelmed by it. Of course, by this point, Mr. Perfect still having back problems, coming back off the 91 back injury. I don't know that he was ever the same after the back injury in 91. Mr. Perfect, though, 86 to 91, probably one of the best in the world. Not that he was bad here, but you can definitely see injuries are catching up with him and continue to do so over the next several years until his untimely passing in 2003. Really wonder how long he would have stayed part of the business. The one the same about a lot of the Minnesota guys. Actually, a guy like Rick Rude, who passed away early in '99. The Road Warriors. I think the only one that's left. Well, there's 2 that's left from that general area of the world. One being Demolition Smash, and the other being Yeah. Nikita Koloff. Koloff, of course, out of the business. And Demolition Smash up until a couple of years ago, anyway. Was still thinking indie booking, odd one here and there. Henning, some hip tosses and the leg Pillmanizer there. Gary Salva, otherwise known as the Italian Stallion, is the opposition here. He's most known for getting the Hardys involved here a couple of years later. Henning hits the perfect plex, not a big surprise there. Gets the victory, 1, 2, 3. And then we go to Doink in a enhancement talent match. At this point, I'm pretty sure Doink's still Matt Bourne, so a bit more of a classic wrestling match here. Doink manages a body slam, hits a couple of higher, I don't want to say risk moves, but more deliberate type stuff. And he actually stands on his opponent for a minute and kind of what I like about heel Doink here is that he kind of stalks around. I understand the reason to make him a baby face, but at the same time, it does kill the gimmick off. Back suplex by Doink. Doink stalking around and does some really basic stuff. Then he goes on to gain a victory here in a couple of seconds. Obviously, the Doinkster not wanting to waste any motion gains his victory. Then we go to another event center style promo. This time, Money Incorporated and Hulk Hogan and British Beefcake plugging another upcoming series of matches. I guess Sergeant Slaughter going to be the special guest referee and tag team title rematches between the two. I'm pretty sure this was Boston, although I think the matches might have changed because I thought the only things that Hogan did post the King of the Ring was a European tour for a couple of weeks. So maybe that changes, or maybe he does the Boston match, and I was unaware. But that will close us for today. We will certainly be. We will certainly be back with more right after this. I'm going to have the SmackDown report up tonight, too, for me having to watch SmackDown. No one with any self-respect should do this, so I do it so you don't have to. In any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.